Right then guys, welcome to another episode of Hooked. My name's John Murray and I'm an angling addict, and today I'm down on the banks of the River Wharfe at Poole. As you can see, it's a fairly misty day, bit of a pea super to be quite honest this morning, so slow drive over, but we finally got here. I've never fished this section of river before, so I'm not entirely sure what to expect, but I believe there's a few grayling, dace, chub up here, so I'm hoping to get into a few of them today. It's going to be a simple affair. I'm just fishing a 6 No. 4 stick float, wire stem. I've got maggots and casters if I need them. I'm just going to start with the maggot, loose feeding maggot, and see what we get out. I've picked a lovely little swim. There's a bit of a fast run coming down. It settles into this slightly slower water, and then it certainly goes fast down below it. So with a bit of watercraft, I'm hoping that this one's going to produce a few fish for me today. Don't forget guys, if you enjoy the videos, give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and smash that notification bell so you don't miss an episode every time I upload one. Right, without further ado, let's get some fishing done, and that's all coming right up. Right, okay, so I'm just going to feed probably by catapult and a few by hand. Can get out onto a slightly longer line. Not knowing the venue, I've brought my 13-foot float rod today. Kind of wished I'd brought the 14-foot for a bit more control, even a 15 or the 17, but we've got what we've got. Set up a 6 No. 4 stick float. It's quite heavy, but it's just allowing me to cast out that a little bit further. Most of the shots are grouped up underneath the float, so I'll just show you the setup. Quite simply, one of these Drennan 3BB alloy sticks, and so we've got 5 or 6 shots just tucked under the float there, and then I've double bulked them in a strung out fashion going down the line, and then there's a little micro swivel as usual down to about a 10-inch hook length, and we're just fishing size 18 Drennan carbon match with a red maggot on the hook at the moment. Finding the depth, I've got this set about 2.5–3 foot at the moment. I don't think it's any deeper than that. I think I've tripped bottom a couple of times. Certainly if you end up down on the inside line, the flow is pushing inside of me a little bit. I've caught the bottom, so just looking for the float dragging, holding back, and just mending the line, running it through. Standard stick float tactics really. So the longer rod would have probably enabled me a bit better presentation, particularly as the flow's sort of coming back into this bank. I'm on a bit of a bend here. It's going through nicely. There's definitely a bit of weed down at the bottom end of that run towards the tree that's overhanging into the water. So that's probably the limit of the run. And we'll just try and trickle a few maggots in. We may not stay in this swim, may move on, find another one. I'm not going to go too far out because trying to hold that line is quite difficult. I'm just feeding the maggots in downstream of me slightly. We're definitely into the depths of autumn now. So finesse plays quite a part in the setup. An 18's not that small, but I want something half decent on in case a chub bites, and that's a fish. Oh, half decent fish as well. So already we've tempted something in. I'm hoping this is a grayling. Feels quite decent. Hugging a bit. Let's have a little look what we got here. Oh, that's beautiful. A lovely little grayling to start. Well, he's out in the net. wiry fish these. Difficult to show on camera, but yeah, nice little starting fish that. So we'll pop him back. So getting up this morning, looking at this weather, can't say I was overexcited about coming out. It just looked miserable. It was raining as well. I'm hoping the fog's going to clear. It won't forecast to be around all day, but we all know what the weather forecast's like. Trouble is, if you wait for a good day at this time of year, you'll never go. It's actually quite a mild day as well. It's quite pleasant. If it doesn't rain for the rest of the day, it'll be nice. Always nice to see a bit of sunshine at this time of year, but I guess we're not going to get it today by the look of it. So I'm just side casting in, getting probably about 2 rod lengths out there. Don't want to be fishing much further on the stick float. Can get out to about 3 with this setup. And that's another bite straight away. Oh, that one's off. So it looks like there's quite a few fish in here at the moment. And if that's the case, we'll up the hook size, get onto a 16 and see if we can keep hold of them. They are quite wiry fish, these grayling, so difficult to keep on the hook. Dace, similarly, tend to twist and turn a bit. They're a fantastic winter feeder. In we go again. Just running through, lovely pace. Just easing it through, holding back and letting it go. Not holding back too hard. Just try and keep that line mended so you get in contact with the fish. That's a little bit further down that bite. Just have to gauge how much feed we can put in. Hopefully they just moved down because we fed a couple of pouches in there. I'll try and bring them in close so I can feed by hand. Keep a few going in on that line. That's roughly where we had the bite last time. Or the bite before the last one. That looked like a dip on the float. Didn't quite take it. Right down the inside here. Very shallow on the edge of probably only about 1.5 foot of water. See if anything's actually sat down here. It's the thing with the stick float, if you miss a bite on your outside line, if you feed the inside as well, you can always just bring the float back in and run it back through on that line without having to wind back. So a good start, but a couple of missed bites there. A little bit awkward feeding with the catapult and fishing with the float rod. Difficult to get into a rhythm with it, but as I say, if we can get them onto feeding by hand, then that makes life a lot easier. Certainly trotting quite an inside line at the moment. Looks to be fish there. that's a bite. Well down the run there. It feels like another decent grayling. Ah, yes. Well, they certainly put a bend in this rod. I mean, this is it's an acolyte plus, and in this flow we're giving it a bit. I do love a bit of stick float fishing, especially in the winter. Yes, good fish. Decent fish this. Rugging bottom. Good bend in the rod. Going out into the main flow a bit. No point in rushing them. We're not in a match. Just enjoy it. Looks a bit better grayling. Oh, I think this could be a trout. Could be a trout, this one. Yeah, small trout, I think. Oh, it's come off. It's come off just right on the rim of the net. Probably about a pound or so. Don't know if he broke me. They wriggle around a bit. No, he didn't break me. He just came off the hook. Nice little fight though. He'd have been going straight back regardless. So yeah, the beauty of this kind of fishing is you don't need a lot of gear with you. I've only brought one bag, one rod and the landing net. If it rains, I can pack up quickly. Although I won't get back to the car very quickly, it's a fair walk down here. So main line today is scaled down. It's 2.6 pound dread and float fish. We'll probably struggle if we get a barbel on, but we might be alright for a chub or two. You can land quite a lot of decent stuff on fine gear if it's balanced up. We've got a 0.11 reflow bottom on, which is rated at about £3, so probably a bit stronger than the main line actually, but I think the main line's probably got a bit more stretch. It's not pre-stretched, so it'll certainly stay intact before the hook length goes. So we've got some stronger hook lengths if we need to beef up a bit. And obviously we can change hook size at leisure. And that looked like a bite pretty instantly there. Top of the run. But we didn't connect. Water is quite clear. This river's been well up and flooded. I had a look at the Ulleskelf section yesterday, and certainly plenty of extra still in there. The fields were awash, and certainly getting into the village was a bit of a challenge through the flooded roads. There we go, we're into a fish. Bottom of the run again. So they're hanging quite well down at the moment. Try and keep this fish on. If we lose this one, I'll get a bigger hook on. Trouble is, it's always a trade-off between do you get a bite or don't you. This one's staying down the inside. Does look like a grayling though. Yeah, lovely little grayling. Another bonny little fish. Say another bonny little grayling that. Let's pop it back. So, an absolutely magic start. I may be able to lighten this presentation off a bit, rather than having double shots down the line. Just moved to singles and took a few more up under the float. or even change the float out for something lighter. The reason for selecting a heavier float is just purely to enable me to cast, because I've got these reeds in front of me, so I'm a little bit further back than I'd like to be from the river. That was a bite, definitely a bite, very close in there. We'll just keep feeding by hand, draw anything we can in. Just getting a few very quick bites at the moment. That looked like a bite fairly instantly there as well. Ooh, just pulled out of that one. They're just, they're not quite grabbing it as quickly as I'd like. I think I'm just going to shift a couple of shots up the line. Just try and waft the bait a little bit more delicately under the noses. Okay, so I've grouped about 8 or 9 number 8s under the float now, and just gone with a single number 8, 4 of them down the line, and then the micro swivel. So we've got about 5 down the line there, down to the hook and maggot. Much less weight keeping it down. That should help the bait rise up in the water more. We've still got the casting ability. We'll just see if it makes a difference to the bites. Should just offer a bit more delicate presentation. There we go, that's a fish. So I just held that float back ever so slightly and that fish was on, and this is a decent fish. It's just broke surface out there. Probably a trout, the way it's going. Cracking bend in the rod. It's probably trying to find some snags down there, but we'll just go steady. Hugging bottom, certainly. Could well be a trout. This is where the beauty of the shorter rod comes in, is that I can net the fish closer. The longer rod, the fish is a lot further out in the river, and that makes life a bit more awkward. This is where you've got to be careful. This is a trout, then it'll be off. Yes, certainly. Oh no, this is a beautiful grayling. Absolute clonker of a grayling, this. Now I'm worried, I don't want to lose it. Stunning fish. Just going to go really steady with this. Get down low, just so I'm not putting too much pressure on him. Let's try and bring him back. Lady of the stream. Doesn't like the net. Trying to get down the inside here. Yeah, definitely. Just give it a little bit of line. It's tugging quite hard. So I was very close to being beat there. Just about had the net on her. She wants to go upstream. We'll try and net her from above. Slide her in. Get in there, that's a beautiful fish. Oh my word. That's what we've come for. That is an absolute corker. What a fantastic grayling that is. Beautiful fish. Well, we got you free. Well, what a stunning grayling. That is. Will she put a fin up for us? I don't think she will. Is that a beautiful fish or what, guys? That's got to be getting on for the best part of a pound. She won't put a fin up for us, but maybe she's in a bit of a mood. Oh, there we go. There we go. What a beautiful fish she is. Just popping her fin up for us. Fantastic. Fishing don't get better than that. Let's pop her back. Okay guys, I just had to give that fish a really good rest. She was absolutely exhausted, so just like a barbel, she's probably had about 5 minutes in the edge there while we just sorted her out. But she's got her strength back and she's gone back safe and sound, so she'll live to fight another day. Happy days. Okay, well, it certainly seems like I've dropped on a few fish. That change in presentation, taking that better fish there. So let me know in the comments, guys, if this is one of your favourite ways of fishing, and if you do like to fish stick float, what kind of reel do you prefer? Do you prefer a centre pin, close face like I use, or an open face, fixed spool? I just put a white maggot on those couple of runs through, but I didn't get a bite, so I'm just going to go back to red. Oh, that was a bite, quite well up the swim there. So maybe we're just drawing a few fish up now. Doesn't feel as big as the last fish. Oh, too much pressure on it. Wasn't a bad one actually, it was about half a pound, just saw it. So I might actually up my hook size now, thinking about it. Certainly a few fish starting to queue up down here. Does an 18 feel right to you? Would you go up? I always believe if you can get away with a bigger hook, then it's there's no harm in doing so. Until you stop getting bites, you might as well keep increasing the size. I may even up the hook length material, see if we can get away with 0.13 bottom. I don't want to go any heavier than that, but it will safeguard us against any sort of chub in the swim, maybe even a barbel. You just never know. You never know what's going to bite when you stick floating. That's the beauty of it. Every time that float dips, could be something different. It certainly looks like our target species today are feeding quite well in this particular swim. There's a bite. This is fantastic fishing. Try not to lose this one. They are so wiry, do come off the hook easily when you put a bit of pressure on them. And the fight with everything they've got, like a barbel. They're not giving up without a good battle. Just keeping side straight on seems to be the best way. Just feel a big heavy fish this. Could be a trout. It is plodding a bit, but I thought that about the last grayling, and that was a beauty. Just bob a few more maggots in while we're playing this fish. Keep them interested. Going upstream. Yeah, it is. I think it's a grayling. Another beautiful lady. I'm not going to show her the net this time. Try and bring her upstream. Such a fight off them. Fantastic fishing. Keith, you got to come and try this, mate. There she is. I'm just going to pop her upstream of the net so she doesn't see it. Lay her back in. Beautiful. That's another clonker, around about a pound plus anyway. It's gone a little bit quiet there since that last Grayling. I had two or three runs through. Just keep a bit of bait going in. I'm not sure they've disappeared yet. Oh, that was a big fish, just crashed on the far bank. Say I saw one earlier. I'm not sure what that was, but it looked good. Feeling to connect with these. So first time out on the wharf this year. First time in a long time actually. It's difficult to know which river to fish at times. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you in the Leeds and York clubs have the opportunity to fish the Nid, the Swale, the Ewer, the Wharfe, the Derwent, the Ouse. Let me know in the comments which one's your favourite Yorkshire river and why. Yeah, well, we're just trotting through again, and again, no bite. Have we exhausted this swim? Have we spooked them? Is it time for a move? Feels like this swim could produce a lot of fish. Ooh, that was a great big fish just topped out there. Great big fish. Don't know what it was. Barbel, salmon. I'm not entirely sure. If I hit it on this gear though, I'm in trouble. Because that was a proper monster. Maybe we should up the hook length size. There's creatures like that in here. It was a bit further out than what I'm fishing, but and it was sort of square onto the flow almost. I don't know if the camera picked it up, but broke surface. And it's got me excited. There was a dip on the float. I was struggling for a proper bite now. Oh, down the inside. That feels like a good fish running. I was just struggling for a bite there, but just did a short cast straight down the inside. And it nailed it pretty much instantly. So maybe just come and tucked in my own side bank a bit. I think it's a trout, this. Yeah, trout. Certainly shot off downstream when we hooked it. Yeah, they do jump around a bit. I try everything to get off the hook, and the last one succeeded. Will we get this in? Yeah! Got him. Lovely little brownie. Lively, so we'll get it back. Okay. Well, I was thinking about having a move. Purely because it's gone a little bit quiet in here. But I think we'll just persevere with it for a bit longer. Not really after trout. I mean, it'd be a good sport on the stick float, but it's not what we've come for. We want the grayling. And maybe a bonus chub. Don't think we've got any chance of taking a barbel out on this setup. So I don't really want to hook into one of those. Yeah, I think this swim's about done. May just have to go and have a little wander. Right then guys, I'm in a new swim. I'm above the weir now. The river looks very, very different here. Quite a bit slower, and all of the flow is on the far bank. I have seen a great big fish crash over by the willows on the far bank, so I'm not sure what that was either. But it definitely makes me think that bringing a feeder rod or a tip rod of some kind, a maggot feeder, down onto these reaches is going to be a worthwhile method. I've only got the stick float, so I've got no option but to fish it. I think it's probably going to be slightly deeper or significantly deeper up here than what it was down below, but we'll see. We'll feed a few maggots in. We've got an hour. These sessions are as much about figuring out a venue first time out as anything else, and then I'll be better armed with knowledge for the next time I come back. If you have fished this venue, then do let me know how you approach it. Whether a waggler onto the far bank could work as well. I mean, I think that'd be quite a good method for picking up a few fish. I imagine most people just fish feeder, but as I say, if you fish the venue, let me know how you fish it and what you find works. Certainly a reasonable flow out there. So we've only got an hour now, so already it feels like, well, the fog's never lifted all day, but it feels like it's certainly pulling in a bit more. I'm just going to start sticking a bit of depth on this rig. Not going to move the shots just yet. See how much depth we have got and whether we're trailing bottom. So I'm going up to about 5 foot now. I'm able to cast mid-river up here, so I'm not as limited as I thought I might be. A big bollo might work nicely on the far bank. I definitely think bringing the longer float rod would be a benefit, but there again, the long float rod don't have the power to land some of these big fish that I've definitely seen in this river today. Still trotting through, so we'll just keep adding a bit of depth until we drag bottom. Let's get another foot on. Yeah, I reckon we're up to about 6+ foot now. So the bulk is actually, the bulk that was sat under the float is actually in the middle of the rig now, with droppers down in the bottom half. That still doesn't look like it's dragging bottom, so I think there's a fair bit of depth on here. Definitely more pace on the river than I thought there'd be. It's pulling through quite nicely on the stick. I'm going to put another foot on the depth. Still haven't dragged bottom. So this is looking quite deep. Just going to get a bit of bait in this swim because we ain't got long. And believe it or not, it's only 2:10 in the afternoon. It feels like night's falling already. It still seems to be running through without a hindrance. I'm going to stick roughly at this depth for now. I don't know how deep it is up here. Could be very deep. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more depth on. May need to go up to a bigger float. It's running through alright though. Probably got about the best part of 9 foot on now. Much more and we'll struggle to fish it on this rod. Still not tripping bottom. And the fact I'm not fishing bottom worries me. It's a nice starting point, is bottom. If you can get a few fish coming up in the water for the maggots that you're feeding in, then it's not too critical, but when you don't know where bottom is, you've got no idea how far off it you're fishing. Can't be that far off it surely, but who knows. Hello, fish. Caught a fish down by the tree. Yes! 9 foot of water. Apologise for the noise, there's an awful lot of traffic on the far side. What is this? There's a big snag down in front of me to my left. So I don't want him getting in that. I can see the branch under the water. I think I'm just going to move downstream a little bit. Be interested to know what this is. Is it a grayling? Is it a chub? It's coming up. Is it a trout? Going well. I think it's a trout. Certainly looks like a trout. You can see it's diving down the inside here. Can't get it up though. Oh, darting around everywhere. Yeah, it's a trout. Another brownie. Decent one. Whew. Yeah. So they're a little bit difficult to get hold of these. But yeah, there we go. Another nice little brownie. Okay, well it seemed the move paid off. I wasn't so sure about this section of water, but that's a nice little start. I wonder if there's any grayling up here as well. Maybe some of those big fish that are crashing are maybe big trout. That looks like a bite. That's a fish on. Back down towards that tree again. It's only a small one though. Tiny, tiny fish. Yeah, minnow. Saw the bite though, but unfortunately that's not what we're looking for. Yeah, I think maybe we've outstayed our welcome. Right then guys, last peg of the day. I'm just seeing somebody else come down and he says yeah, it can get very deep up here, particularly at the top end. It gets up to about 13 foot where I was, so you reckon it was probably about 9 foot. So we're probably fishing about the right depth. He says this peg's maybe a bit shallower. I've just found myself a sand bed. And that certainly looks like it's dragging bottom just there. I can get just out into the water a bit. I've seen a few fish topping this peg. Right, so we can shallow up a bit here. I think we've got a little bit less depth. So we'll start coming down a foot at a time until we stop dragging. That still looks like it's dragging bottom. Oh, that's a bite. That was a fish. So, could be a good peg, this one. Just going to take 6 inches off the depth. 6 to 8 inches. See what we can tempt. I don't know whether that just dragged under with the bottom there, so I might still need to shallow up a bit. Just keep trying to run through. Quickly gauge it. When you're shy on time, you don't have a lot of time to get things right. Again, that looked like a bite, but could have just been bottom. So we'll take another 6 inch off. Keep shallowing up. That's a fish. Bingo. That didn't take long at all. What have we got here? Ah, lovely little grayling. Beautiful. We found them again. It's great to try a few pegs and find where the fish are and what you're catching each. So exciting when you don't know a venue. And the float's just a great way of doing that. Searching some water out. Looks like it's going through about right now. So maybe it's maybe 6 foot out there, which is a nice depth to fish on the stick. It is getting very, very foggy again though. It's difficult to see anything. It's just about 3 o'clock. It's funny, in these swims you seem to get an early fish and then it goes a little bit quiet. That was a fairly quick bite there. I'll just trot down the inside line a bit. Definitely dragging bottom on that little bit closer in. Right, good cast out there. Got nicely out into the flow. Just get behind the float now. Gonna have to call it a day shortly. It's very difficult to see the float. Just going to go for an overhead cast here because my arm's killing me side casting. And get out that little bit further. Feel like the fish are just sat in that water where it's flowing a bit harder. Just feathering it in, make sure it lines in a straight line. It's unconventional for casting a stick float, but shoulder's starting to ache. Virtually impossible to see the float now, even in front of me. Fog's never really lifted all day. That was definitely a fish, I felt that on then. Biting a bit tentative. Yes, fish. Only a small one. I think a waggler would work well in here. So I think next time, maybe set up a waggler on the shorter rod. Stick float on the 14 foot, maybe even a bollo on the 17 foot, and a maggot feeder rod, but trying to bring all them down the bank is hard work. Right guys, unfortunately that's all we've got time for today. The weather's drawing in and the night is as well. The fishing's gone a little bit slow, but I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. If you've enjoyed the video as well, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode every time I upload one. Thanks for watching guys, and until the next one, tight lines.